We're rolling now? Yeah, boy. Woo! Oh, this is hype, eh? Look at the setup.
This is nice, bro. You've done some nice stuff with the place.
Thank you, thank you. I'd like to think so. Gotta invest in yourself, you know? Look at that.
Every second counts.
Grr. Every second counts. Every second does count. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for episode 7 of the True Potential Podcast.
Lucky number 7, bro.
Lucky number 7. So to christen number 7, we got some tight leather here.
Yeah, dude, these are nice. You know what I like about these?
What do you like about them?
I can lounge nicely. Like the other ones, it's hard to like get a little lean. Like these, I feel like I can get a nice lean with the leg cross.
Right.
I think I just need a glass of scotch.
It's all about the lean. Well, a glass of scotch. I mean, what do we have here? So what are we dealing with? What are we actually drinking?
We're drinking electrolytes by Northern Hydration.
Nice.
Shout out to them.
Your little brand. Should we crack these?
Well, it's not my brand, but big fan of these guys. They are probably one of the only electrolyte beverages in Canada that are doing it like this, which I'm super excited about.
What do you mean doing it like this?
Like putting it in a can and
Yeah.
making it carbonated. And what I really like about it is the amount of sodium. I mean, we don't need to get into the weeds of this, but a lot of electrolyte beverages I find don't have a lot of sodium in them. They claim to be a lot of sodium for performance-based benefits, I think.
Right.
And what I really appreciate about this is there is a lot of that. So for someone who does a lot of training, does a lot of running, specifically in the summer, but often even not in the summer, just sweating a lot,
yeah,
replenishing sodium is
actually replenishing it. Actually getting enough of it. Yeah, it's good to know. All right, let's crack these puppies. Let's get into this.
We're gonna drink them?
Hell yeah, we're drinking these.
I kind of wish this was an energy drink.
Should we pop it next to the mic for you? Because I know you like that. I know it has like, it's a little bit of your kink, like the crack.
My kink?
Yeah, I know it's a little bit of
easy
your kink.
on telling people my kinks, man.
Yeah, ASMR of opening a can.
Oh.
Don't spill the new leather. Oh, who are you? God, we just got these. I actually rented these.
Yeah, we gotta send them back.
Yeah, but they go back tomorrow. That's good. These are really good, actually.
They're
really
great.
Tasty.
Yeah,
really tasty.
I really enjoy them.
Also, we're gonna do product marketing it to make sure, one, your foot's not in the way, okay? Second, the face is always out. So just make sure when you put it down, you're drinking that the whole way for the pod. I shouldn't have to teach you these things, but I know, this is my podcast. Like, I think of this stuff, but
yeah,
you're just the talent.
You own the IP. Yeah, I'm just the talent,
just
bro.
the talent.
That's what the people say. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to talk about the setting here because, again, obviously, we're putting some investment into building this place. What do we like to call it? I think we haven't really shared what we like to call our hub of...
The Source Hub?
The Source Hub. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Source because I think it's so important. We use it a lot. I had some Source moments today. So like how I got these was a Source moment, right? Like I had a really good friend send me a DM about a furniture sale. He was like, I know you're looking for chairs for the podcast. You should go check this out. I was like, thanks, bro. I went after one of my meetings today. I see a guy I used to coach a couple years ago. He was at the place. And I'm just like, yo, this is a great vibe. I'm feeling good about this day. I see these leather couches. We had sat on one of these types of couches in Texas. I was talking to a friend the day before about this like style of couch, and I'm like, I gotta buy this. Like that is Source to me.
Yeah, well, like, how would you define it though? Like you're describing an example of it, but like when you say that, like what is that?
I define it as synchronicity. I define it as good energy. I define it as a vibe. I define it as recognizing patterns in your life of good things, again, good feelings. I think when you're with the right people, your energy automatically goes up. So you're kind of looking at the world a little bit differently with some belief, with some excitement, right? If you're always looking to avoid in life, you're not gonna find the source. The source is openness. The source is like anything could happen on a given day, right? And when we were in Texas, that's what it was. And we've brought that back. And I mean, we were doing that stuff before. That's the beauty of like our friendship. I think, our events and things that we do, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's no different than today when you were having your event for the movement. Like all those people that have come and continue to come out and support and like enjoy that energy, a lot of those were Source like happenings, right? You have a couple clients that are there that are really cool. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about any of those or just like the experience today, because today was a cool event. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, today was cool. I think though, like what you're talking about, it's interesting because a lot of times we think, you hear people talk about like having a good vibe or being in like a flow state or having these good moments. And like sometimes, I think a lot of times we think it happens by accident, but I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I think that like you can create that, and it takes a lot of work. Like you have to be in a good place mentally. You have to be aligned with like who you are and what you want, and you have to be pretty clear on those things, because like I think what happens is when you're not, you don't let the right people in your life. You don't put yourself in the right environments that like foster this, what you would call source.
Yeah.
And when you do create those things and you start getting those feelings, which it's hard to describe verbally, even like lately for me, I would say probably, you know, the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months of my life, like I have been feeling that energy more than I ever have before. And a lot of that, you know, has to do with you showing me some of the ways like you think about it, and like us talking about it. And I think, you know, you talk about being around the right people. I think we are good friends because of, you know, being the right people for each other. And so like when you start feeling that, it's like, oh, there's something to this. Like, how do I continue to protect that and create that? And you can through what you do, the people that you see, the environments that you put yourself in.
Yeah, you can nurture it. But the thing is too, I think, and I was talking to you about this because I went to obviously back to Laurier yesterday for homecoming. It was our 10th anniversary. I'm still pissed that you guys didn't give me a backdrop or like some sort of alumni like sign that said 10 years. I was really excited. I was like, they're going to give us something big. It was like one little sign like this. But hey, you know, $36,000, you know, just, you know, it doesn't give me a sign at 10 years, maybe 20. But going back there and talking about those times, right, and how you're around people all the time and you're hanging out with your friends a lot, like, we get away from all that stuff because we get so rooted in seriousness and responsibility and all these other things. And one of the beautiful times about, you know, university in that time period, and even high school and you know, lesser time, and you're with, you know, we were with kids today, you're with kids today, you're with Will's kids today. It's like they vibe.
Yeah,
They're just having a day, man.
Yeah.
And it's like when you allow yourself to, where you don't have to have structure and a timeline in this, like leave space for yourself, right? Like, it's beautiful. That's actually how things happen. That's how it's fun. And again, you get around people that have the same expectation, which is zero expectation. That is a great day. Like, that's how you have great moments. And so when we were reminiscing the last, you know, few days about all these things that happen and how you meet this person and that person, like we were talking about res and how, you know, people just started opening their doors the first week, right? Obviously, your first day, because, you know, you're going to go in there and say hi and meet people, and you go to different floors. It's a beautiful time because anything is possible. Again, when life is all ahead of you, right, you have this beautiful outlook on it. The problem is people close off and they assume life is behind me, right? But 10 years removed from university, I don't think life's behind me. I think it's all in front of me. I am so appreciative of what I've done, but like, I just look at like who I am, what I've built, what I'm building, and I'm like, everything is ahead of me. It's only going to get better. And again, I think you and I feel that way because we surround each other, we find ourselves with each other and with people like that. And like, we kind of remove, like, or not even remove, just like, don't participate in other thoughts. Why the fuck would you? Why would you participate in any other thoughts other than positive belief-based things? There are some like obviously harsh realities of life that you have to deal with, but on the other side of that reality is a better one, right? Like, it'll always come back up. And it's like just that openness, again, going back to source, that's what it is. Openness, belief, possibility. We saw Nick Bear. We didn't get to say that on the last podcast. We were in the airport and we saw Nick Bear. And for those of you who don't know who Nick Bear is, like one of the most famous like fitness influencers ever. Runs his own supplement company, like fantastic, cool human that like you love.
Yeah.
We're sitting there and it's like, now boarding back to fucking Canada. And then all of a sudden you go, dude, that's Nick Bear. And I go, what the fuck? And before I can even get up, look around, this guy's already like, hey, Nick. And I'm like, oh my God, Dalton, no way. Like, and I'm so glad you did.
Yeah, and that's even a crazier thing because like I obviously going to Austin, we knew that he was there, and I have had the opportunity to make some relationships like with people that are close enough to Nick, where I was like, is there a possibility that I could try to create this on my own, right? Which is cool because like I built some relationships, so I reached out to some people to see like could it be possible for me to go to BPN, go to BPN because I want to go there, but also have the potential opportunity if I go there that I'll get to meet Nick, and that would be a cool thing. Yeah. And I tried to do that and it didn't work out. Right. Which normally I think I would have been a little bit more like upset about, but I kind of was like, oh, whatever, it's all good, like it's not that big of a deal. And even when we were there the whole time, we're kind of joking around about like seeing his hats and like, is Nick Bear going to be there, that kind of thing, funny stuff, right? And then it obviously didn't happen. And in my mind, I'm like, we're not going to meet him, right?
Well, I didn't even think about it really, like past when he couldn't go to the BPN.
Yeah, and then for us to be like literally getting on the plane, like, and the only reason we were there was because I signed us into our seats late, so we were the back of the plane.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's funny. So I didn't know that till right now.
We boarded the plane last.
I don't care.
So that's the only reason why we were there, right? So like, those things, and I would in the past be like, that's just like, well, that's just coincidence. But like, I don't think that's coincidence. I think that there's a reason for that. I think that is like whatever you want to call it, universe, God, manifestation, placing things in your life. Like, I think there's a lot of real power to that kind of stuff.
But dude, it goes back to when we, told people why we're going to Texas. We had our own reasons that were our own vibe, and we listened to Bailey Zimmerman every weekend for weeks before, be just getting on this vibe, ready to go to this, and we're ready to like put those lyrics into a video when we got back. Like, we constructed what this was going to be in a lot of elements because we just wanted to be amazing, and it was always going to be. And then all the things that filled into the cracks, right, or into the other space that we had was beautiful. And like, we've already rehashed that trip, so we don't go too far back there. But the Nick Bear thing was incredible.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was one of the craziest things that I've experienced, to be honest.
And also a fantastic human.
Amazing dude.
He was super
kind,
nice.
Chill, patient with us.
Patient, yeah.
Asked us what we were doing, where we're from.
Yeah.
Honestly, I rushed the conversation because I felt bad about taking up his time.
Yeah.
But now when I reflect back, I'm like, I wish I would have took more of his time because like he was actually so gracious of like giving it. He probably would have wanted me to have more of a conversation with him. You know
I think it's all timing with those people, right?
That, but it was just cool.
Often.
But something I want to ask you, because I think it might be a little bit more relatable to people who are listening, and I know it was a part of my life, because like it's easy for us to speak from this now when we're in this source, this vibe, this alignment with like these things.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case. And there's gonna come a time again when you and I go through some hard shit in our life for whatever reason that like pulls us out of the pocket, and we're battling again to get back there.
Stay in that pocket, baby. Throw that ball out of the pocket, bro.
You gotta get back in that pocket. So I know that wasn't always the case for you, right?
No.
So like, maybe take me through a little bit of like how you were feeling and what was going through your head when you were in those moments. And then how do you put yourself in a position to be open enough and aligned enough to reap the rewards of this source that you're talking about? And we don't have to get into just like immense amount of details, but like, I think it's important to talk about like when you're not in that, what are you doing to put yourself in a position to be open to it?
Yeah, I don't mind. I think that's actually a good question to ask. I will say right before, because we kept saying pocket, and all I could think about was Hot Pocket, and I don't know if you had Hot Pockets when you were in high school.
Do you think I didn't have Hot Pockets? I used to be massive.
The deluxe, like extra cheese, like Hot Pockets were wild. Like back when you're a kid and you can't cook, you just throw that shit in the microwave.
Dude, I haven't had a Hot Pocket.
I know. Sauce a couple Hot Pockets? Dang! So to be honest with you, and I'm gonna say this honestly to those of you out there, if there's a common denominator in anything, it's you in a lot of your experiences. And if you're finding that things aren't functioning, going right, failing, you're not getting, I don't know, whatever opportunity you think you might need to have, or again, just not in a good place. The one thing that you can change is you. And I think I had watched myself over a period of time close off because I was uncomfortable in certain situations. I think my ego took over a lot to protect me in situations, to make me feel good in situations. So I wasn't as open as I am now to people and things. And I think also the general society talks in a closed off way. We love to pick sides on all topics. Like, I've actually gotten really good at just saying, I don't have an opinion on things because I don't have a side and I don't need to. I can listen to you talk about what you want to say. I can give you my dialogue, and then I can still stay neutral. Like, I think we often like to close off to protect ourselves. So at a certain point in my life, I had watched some things just continue not to work in, relationships with people primarily. And I tried to think back. Actually, I did think back when I was at a happier time, and I was much more open. So, a few years ago when I was, like in the second year of my business and things were really tough and I was, struggling, and that's when we met, and actually, we had lots of good conversations and you helped me at that time. I was just like, nothing seems to work. Everything's breaking around me. And again, if everything's breaking around you, what's the common denominator? You can blame other people if you'd like. If you want to spend time doing that, you can't change them, but you can change you. So if you put time into, how do I open back up? How do I, let this scab heal over and not keep ripping it off, self-sabotaging myself, like, etc., and just let it heal, let myself heal, let myself look at this world in a beautiful way again, believe again, take risks in a positive way, regulate myself, bring humans in and see if they fit, and like be okay if they leave. Like working on all these facets, which took me a long time to do, you actually open the world back up, and it's really beautiful. And you actually start to recognize where energy goes and comes from, and then you can also like start to make better decisions around you. And that goes back to like what you said about your gut. You actually like fix your gut. Like I think everybody talks about, fixing your gut, probiotics and blah, blah, blah. And like from a health standpoint, yes, fixing your gut is important. But from like a mental and spiritual standpoint, fixing your gut and your intuition is actually really important. You have to remove the blinders that others have put on you, the stories and narratives that you get told that you don't actually align with. You have to come back to full center source of like who you are and what you believe, and actually accept who you are. I was thinking about this the other day in the car. Like a big part of that people struggle with is if they have a differing opinion than others, like accepting that that's their opinion at a core level. And like because they're fearful of like someone getting upset with them. And the moment you like accept yourself fully and you can be confident in who you are and then put that out to the world and be okay if something gets shut down or like you get rejected or whatever happens, that's a beautiful time. So I think I really tried to foster these things. I did a lot of reading. I read a lot of Buddhist books, which I found very enlightening. They talked a lot about the ego and how that like really works to protect you, but it also self-sabotages you and you have to let go of it. And ego is not being arrogant, right? Ego is not just being a pompous asshole. Like ego is this sense of self that often gets inflated or at times inflated to serve us, to protect us, to make us feel confident when we feel scared, and to allow us to get through maybe hard times. And then again, we almost talk our way into avoiding things too. So I just spent a lot of time going back into circumstances with a different approach. And I tried to work on finding what the right approach was for me. So in a long-winded way, I again opened myself back up. And I looked back to do that. So what I was trying to say there for a second was, I went back to when I was a kid. What did I like to do? What did at source level me, when no one told me how to act or be or what I needed to do, what did I do? I used to go for bike rides and I used to explore on my own for hours on a Sunday. And obviously I played tons of sports, so I got back into that with whatever capacity I could. And again, a lot of this is physical. I actually like to be really creative. I actually used to draw when I was a kid and play around with that kind of shit and like play games like crazy. And again, I play video games and I just let my brain kind of have like work and play and everything else. And then again, I like making people laugh. I like entertaining people. Like I used to put on little shows in the back area of my mom's house. I used to dress up and shit for them and stuff. And like, I used to do funny ass shit. I like attention when I can make people happy. So this is a good example of an avenue that we've found that like allows me to do that part for me and fills me up, which is why, you and I talked about it. Like we need to do a podcast. Like we just felt like we needed some of the energy. So, I'll pass this to you. I don't know from what I've talked about over the last like a few months or however long we've known each other that's really helped you, but I'd love to know like what you really took from some of the things that I've said. But that's kind of how I got to that point, was going backwards to me as a child and a kid and saying, what do I love? What fills me up? And doing more of that. And then also kind of opening myself back up to being confident with people and things and jumping into activities and going to events and again, just being me and removing the narratives I was taught, the narratives I developed for myself to protect myself, the narratives around what I needed to do to be confident or what like a man is or what like I need to be or what people define me as. I just kind of removed all of those stories and said like, who do I want to be? And I've just gotten better at withstanding the pressure when people start to throw narratives back at me or poke me or tell me I'm not that. Like I just don't participate, and I just move forward, right? So, and it's actually funny because the other side, you're only with yourself, right? So like at the end of the day, when you go home at night, like did you do everything that was in your value system? Because you're the only one with you, right? So anyways, yeah, what have you taken?
No, I just want to no, before we do that, I think like that was a lot. There was like so much good stuff. No,
I went to your source. I blacked out for a bit.
Dude, you did. You blacked out, but that was beautiful. Like I think you hit on a lot of really good things, and I just want to like summarize it because you said a lot there, and I think the big thing that and this is very much what I've learned from you. So it's nice to hear you say it, but it's like, sorry, I'm blanking on what I was gonna say now.
No, it's all good.
It's been a long day. But like what you said at the start was it's like you're the only person that can do anything about it. Like, you're in control. You have to look at yourself. At some point, regardless of what's happening around you, you have to look at yourself and be like, what do I need to change? And you're always in control of that.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing you have to accept, and it's hard to accept because we as humans don't want to accept that it's us. But if you're constantly having these reoccurring patterns that are going on, you have to take some responsibility for the fact that it involves you. And then you have to address that. And I think that's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, you need to look at yourself and realize who you are and try to understand your value system and try to remember or establish what that is, and then accept you for that. Like, accept yourself for who you are fully. And that was something that we had a lot of conversations with, and I think it was something that I really struggled with. And we talked a little bit about this on like the second or third episode of the podcast about like self-love and like self-acceptance. And I think that was a big thing that I struggled with just truly loving myself and who I was and every single part of me, not just like some aspects, but every single part. And I think for me anyway, if you don't do that, you're going to have a really, really hard time being open, because you're going to be constantly battling this insecurity with yourself. Yeah. And that's a hard thing to do, but our body wants to protect us from being exposed to that by you'll distract yourself with a bunch of other things.
Right. And subconsciously, like, things will still poke at you and tell, like, say, like, let me out, like, let me be this, let me do this. Like, if you ever make a decision and you feel really off about it, like, it's often because you just did the wrong thing, like, and you know it. And like, there's a part of you that like knows you settled, or knows that you said what you didn't want to say, or followed a person you didn't want to follow, or participated in a conversation you didn't want to be in, right? Like, I think there's a subconscious part of you. Back to like the loving you part, like, there are all facets to you, and if you don't let them out and acknowledge them, it's not helpful. So I'll give you an example. Like, I'll give you a real example, because I haven't really shared this, and maybe it's a good time. And it's gonna sound maybe odd, but like, I remember way back, and I actually had a friend, Kristen, who helped me with this. Like, we were having calls, and I was like, I really want to go to a dance studio. Like, I love Step Up. Like, when I was a kid, like when I was in high school, I used to watch Step Up a lot. Like, I would watch Step Up, eat a bowl of like Frosted Flakes and Cheerios and shit, and rip Step Up and go play soccer and come home. And sometimes I'm up in my room dancing, man. I swear to God.
This guy likes to dance.
Everybody knows I like to dance now. But like, I like to dance like for real. And and like, I wanted to try to dance for real.
All right, yeah.
So I told you this, and I told a few people this, but I was like, I'm gonna go to a dance studio. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, there is a delusional part of me that thinks when I take on a new task or thing, I'm gonna be really good at it. I don't know why that is.
Same, bro. That's a bro thing.
I might be unreal at this. Like, let's be honest.
That's a dude thing.
Yeah, I think it's because like when you play games and you're like semi-athletic, you can just all play everything.
I'm gonna go to the NBA.
Yeah, I'm like, they might recruit me. I might actually get asked to do like what is it? Would it be a recital for hip hop, or what am I gonna do? Like, I'd consider it. Like, how many weekends do I have to participate? Anyway, so I decided to reach out to another friend who I know dances, and I said, where would you tell me to go if I could go to a studio? I ended up going to Toronto. I went by myself. I went in this hip hop class. And like, dude, it was the hardest thing I've done. It was the most uncomfortable, but fun. And like, again, listening to like rap and hip hop music, and I'm there with all women. So like, it's just girls around me that like can dance way better than me. And we're dropping it to the floor a couple times. And I'm like, I'm having to come up with my butt out. And like, fuck guys, like, it was wild. Like, I had to shake it in some ways that like, I don't know that a guy shakes it very often. But it was also hip hop, so it's like, you know, different, the style kind of aligns. Anyways, I had a great time. It was super tough. I gave everybody so much credit. Like, one of the hardest workouts, like super challenging. The rhythm and the timing, and again, my brain was just fire. It was great. But I came out of that, got a picture with the instructor, who was great. And I was like, I'm gonna share this in my newsletter. I'm gonna share this on social media, and I'm gonna talk about doing things that scare you, and like, you only get one life, and you should just kind of try everything. And I just didn't. And this was like in February or January. And so like, I know people think that I just kind of tackle fear and talk about fear and just rifle through it all the time, but I don't. Like, it comes in pieces. And I'm sharing this now because the timing feels right. But I was nervous to share that because I'm a basketball coach, and I'm I'm pretty masculine in some aspects of my life. And maybe that's not, that's more of a feminine area. And like, I don't care if I'm saying that right or wrong. Like, it's it's this idea of, and I think this is what kids deal with, and like adolescents deal with. Like, we used to watch movies where the guy, like, it's fucking Troy Bolton going to play basketball, and then he wants to do drama. Like, Connor's life wasn't exactly that, but it's pretty close, maybe. But I never
maybe that was meant to be, bro.
Maybe it was meant to be. Maybe I was meant to be Troy Bolton.
I think the piece you're getting at, though, is like that is part of you. Like, that is part of what you enjoy. That other aspect of those things that you were worried about sharing, in fear of like other people's opinions about that.
Yeah,
based
I have
on
a
their,
dramatic side
based
of
on
me.
their perception of who you are. And I think that's part of what we're talking about, is like accepting the fact that that is you, and expressing those things is what's going to make you feel whole, and it's going to make you feel aligned, and it's going to make you open to the world, and it's going to allow for those things to come through, and you have that feeling of source and that feeling of connection.
Well, and again, it opens me up to all facets of life and all humans. And that's like actually where we should kind of ride, is like being comfortable with all different types of people. But if you're not comfortable with yourself, how you be comfortable with others, right?
But it starts with you being comfortable with yourself.
We've talked about this many times. Everyone is a mirror to you. Like, how you perceive the person across from you is how, like, your perception of them, right? They are their own human being. Someone also that meets you or me can have a totally different perception. I could be the villain in somebody's story. I could be the hero in somebody else's story. I could be the funny guy in somebody's story. I could be the dancer in someone else's story that's not very good at dancing, right? But that's because everybody's just a mirror to you. So it doesn't really matter what one or two people think of you. It doesn't matter even what the collective thinks of you. It's what you think of you, because you're the only one that knows you at a core. Everybody else will have all these opinions. So you have to find who that is, and you have to do those things. And then you get comfortable with yourself, which gets you comfortable with all others, right? And then you vibe better. I think the last thing I was going to wrap up with is, when I was in high school, I never really got the opportunity, or I was never encouraged as much to, go do drama. Even though I did drama, I got a 90 in that class, so I was wicked. Yeah, improv was my thing. So, like, I wish I would have had like an avenue to explore that more, been encouraged to explore that more, because again, it would have allowed me to wear more hats. I wouldn't have got so caught up in my identity as a basketball player and that being everything. So when that ended, I would have had other things to fall back on, but I was an athlete and that's all I was. Like, that's what I thought of myself. That was my structure and my foundation of confidence. So when you have other things, it's going to help you, right? So I think it's important that we encourage the generations below us, our kids that we meet and work with, like all youth, to be themselves in a full circle way, right? Be all aspects of you. Like, I would never, like, you want to wear X amount of like clothing, and you want to do this thing, and you want to be this and that. I get a good example actually is I coached a guy from the West Niagara basketball team, and he's making R&B music now. Yeah, Sean. So Sean is blowing my mind. And Sean and I go back and forth a little bit in DMs, and I always tell him, like, keep going, bro. Sean is like, yeah, it's incredible. Like, we go back and forth in DMs, and I tell him, like, all the time, like, keep going, bro. This is awesome. Your music's actually good. Like, you're so creative. It's cool because his parents actually, like, gave him a year to, like, explore this and do this. Like, he's taking a year between school. So again, I don't want to tell too much of his story. It's his story, but like, I listen to it on Spotify. I try to like stuff when I see it. I try to share it when I really have a good vibe with something. I just try to be really encouraging. When I see him out, I'm always like, what's new? Like, what are you working on? And I hope it works out for him. And I hope at least he tries his absolute best to know, like, he gave it a shot, because it's super fucking cool. If you think you're destined to do that, then go push it to the edge. And along the way, when you push it to the edge, you're going to find other things, right? So anyways, man, that is like, again, it goes back to, that is what source is. Source is you. Source is you. You aligned with yourself. And when you have others that allow you to be aligned with yourself because they're aligned with themselves, you can stay on that source, and you can have great moments and things, and manifestation works, and all this stuff comes to light, and it's beautiful. And again, it's not perfect, but you learn a lot about yourself, and you keep building. So it's really cool. But there is another segue I want to make.
What's that line in that 2 Chainz song?
I don't know.
Yeah, that way. Roll on the track like a Segway.
Oh, I don't know that one.
You know that one?
No, but you know which one? You know what song I want to put on one of these videos now is like Nail Tech.
Oh, dude. That's my song right now.
Yeah, fashionista? Because you're a fashionista now. You got this guy wearing jeans out here. Unreal.
Times are changing, bro.
So,
Segway. Let's
get back in the pocket. Okay. Let's talk about a topic we have gone back and forth with for a while. So, Dalton and I, through the last 6 months, have talked a lot about a TV show called The Bear. Even to the point where I got him an every second counts little plaque for his kitchen, because I mean, I just think this show is so full of beautiful moments, amazing character arcs, which just represent like real human beings, and just so many values and like things you can take away. But I know you love it, so why don't you open it up a little bit and talk to me a little bit about The Bear for You.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of my favorite shows I've ever watched. I think that show is chaos, is how I would describe it. Like,
Yep.
I've never watched a show that has elicited so much anxiety in me, but at the same time, like, made me like so emotional, but also like reflective. It was really interesting. And I think like a lot of times, you know, these things can be more powerful when they hit your life at a particular time. So I think it hit me at a time where it was more powerful in terms of like the stories that were being created and shared in that show. But the way that like some of the characters in that show develop and go through a lot of like the stuff that we talk about, a lot of like trying to figure out themselves and dealing with the hardships that they've had in their lives and the challenges, and working through that to try to get to a point where they can, you know, feel like they're creating something that is them and that is true to them. Like, you see that throughout that whole show from different characters, and it's all going through a different story. And I think that's really cool. And the other thing that really stands out to me in that show, and something that I was working on at a lot at that time, was like the idea of love in that show is like very powerful in a lot of different ways. And like they tackle it in like love for like self-love, like trying to figure it out for yourself. They tackle it in like love for one another, love for family members, love for friends, and like how important that is. And it's very much like expressed, from my opinion, like very well in that show. And I think that was what was most powerful for me at that time, trying to figure out even what that means for me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, well said. The show, for those of you that don't know, basically revolves around Carmen Berzotto, who is a world-renowned chef that come back to his like family's restaurant because his brother committed suicide. So it's like a heavy, early concept that you don't really know right away. And then you kind of see the unravelings of, you know, the family dynamics and the friends that are family, and how, you know, they're all entrenched in this business and the business isn't doing well. And Carmen kind of got away from this by going off to culinary school and doing all these things, and was, you know, almost pretty much famous.
The best chef
and then
in the
just
world.
burnt out a little bit and came back. So it's cool because you get to see all aspects of Carmen and how he develops, and like why he went away and what was going on here, and this like just implosion of like emotion that is his family and the whole dynamic there all the time. But then again, it's like the emotion is love to a core level. It's just people don't know how to express it, or love themselves to express love to others. So it's really beautiful. I want to go through, we'll start maybe in the beginning couple seasons. I want to dabble in a few things that kind of you remember. I always find, and this is one thing, I don't know where I heard it, but sometimes it's not about sitting and listening to like a podcast or watching a show and writing down things to remember. Sometimes it's literally about just like what you can pull from it is your favorite stuff, and that's what you want to take from it. So let's go back and forth a little bit. Let's kind of start with the first season. But first off, Richie.
I'm trying to remember.
Richie is like probably one of my favorite characters.
Agreed.
If anybody is out there kind of struggling to figure it out, to make better money, to become a better professional, watch Richie in this show.
And figure out what they're good at. Like what are you meant to be doing?
Yes.
Like that is the arc of Richie in that show.
And Richie's arc is probably one of the best of all characters, I think.
I agree.
So it won't take you the 4 seasons that there are to see it all, but like it's a beautiful arc. Because he has this substance of like fun and like again bringing people together, etc. I am the sand, but he struggles to put that into like actual structure and actual, you know, benefit to the business. At times is almost the opposite, and he self-sabotages a lot. And it's like he's a great person to watch. So
well, it's a good example of like, and I think a lot of people struggle with this, and I've struggled with this, is like you're trying to find meaning in what you're doing in your life, and you just can't quite grasp onto it. It's like you don't feel like you're good at anything. You're trying different things, and every time you try something, it doesn't work out. And like you think you might be good at this one skill, and you start trying to build a skill, and then it goes to shit. And then you're like, well, I'm not meant to do this. And like I really feel like that was happening for him until he got put in a situation where like he was forced to go into an uncomfortable situation and have some of the structure that he needed in his life,
right.
But it also forced him to like. It challenged him to look inward as to like what he was good at and put him in situations that highlighted those things. And I think like what he ends up finding out is like some of the things that like people talk a lot of shit about him for were actually the things that he was the best at. And when he actually put those things into productive action, he was really good at the job that he eventually found, which then allowed for him to have great success. And there's a lot of learning in that, and I feel that way because there's a lot of things that like I would think about myself and downplay myself for, or think it wasn't a good skill because it wasn't cool or whatever, that's like come back around to be some of the best skills that I have now in my life, and have probably have helped me have the most success that I've had in a lot of things. And so oftentimes that situation is very true for a lot of people. It's just very hard to see that when you're constantly trying something and you're just failing or you're getting shit on or you're not having success, and it's hard to pull that out.
Yes, and also in Richie's case too, the environment around him was shit and like toxic. And it wasn't just him, but he was like feeding into it. I think we've talked about this in the environment podcast. We talked about how like if the environment is shitty, you have to stay steadfast in your values. And when Carmen comes back to the restaurant, it's like, I'm changing all of this shit. We're actually gonna go super detail oriented because that's how high-end restaurants run. And he changed all that. And Richie had the biggest pushback on this is bullshit. It doesn't matter. We're running a sandwich shop. Well, no, we're gonna run a better restaurant. We're going to run a better sandwich shop. And again, it evolves into other things. But when Richie had to go to another restaurant and actually participate in just like shining fucking forks and like the detail of that and it being spotless and watching everybody be bought into that and then the service be incredible, right? It's the detail that creates everything. It was like when we went to the Speakeasy in Texas. That's exactly what that was. I imagine that place is run extremely well. Everybody is bought in. Everybody gets trained up really well, and then the expectation is set. And then the nuance within the expectation is your personality able to come out, right? You don't need to buck the system. You do need structure. You do need to be managed, right? It's hard to manage yourself. And quite frankly, like we are entrepreneurs, but it's not that we don't get still managed. I think that's one of the best things about our friendship is that we can call each other out on some bullshit. But like, if you don't have that in your life, then you will be fucking serving up bullshit. Like you will just bullshit your way to problems. And then again, what's the common denominator? It goes back to what I said. It is you. It is you. You are your shortcoming at the end of the day. And I didn't get the right opportunity and this and that bullshit. Because you can make something the right opportunity. And if you stay in it and you do it at a high level, like what you do in one thing is how you do everything, right? That whole saying, that is the truth. Because all it takes is that one opportunity to meet that one person when you're serving, food and you like have a networking opportunity and you like move up or you do something or blah, 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 right? Or again, you get an opportunity at a business to like, you fail, but they pick you up. They say, hey, we're gonna send you here for training. It's not punishment, it's an opportunity, right? So Richie's great that way. I think the other thing is, Carmen's dynamic is really interesting. He's like this genius, but like he's still so like entrenched in his like own shit, and like he almost, and we've talked about this a little bit, uses cooking as an outlet and distraction from all his other problems. And that's again a great example of like, that's not source work, man. You're not like aligned with yourself. If you're cutting off all these pieces of you and only like putting all of your effort in the thing that makes you popular or validates you via others, like that is not you aligned. You will fucking explode, and he does multiple times. Because then when good things come into his life, he assumes they're gonna leave. He doesn't know how to handle them, and he actually pushes them away. And then you're left with nothing. And then you realize, oh, I wanted all those things. Because you're a whole human at the end of the day, right? You're not just one piece. So the story, the show teaches you a ton of lessons. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your favorite like part of the like whole show.
Favorite part of the whole show?
I think you know what it is.
Yeah.
I can't get under a table physically right now for you, but I would.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of the show.
So talk to me about why you love that part of the show.
So it's like Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, this is well into the season, like the show. It's like one of the second last episodes of the season.
Yep.
And there's a scene where all of the team that like you've grown to know and watch them go through all of them go through their own battles. And this is the idea of like truly to me anyway, was like truly the definition of love, was all of these people who have spent the last however many, months trying to build this restaurant and having these battles and going through all these things. They all come together under this table to help this little girl who is going through a little bit of a struggle of a time. And they all come in one by one, and they start like sharing some of the things that they were afraid of or that they had fear about and what was like holding them back. And they were almost going through this like cathartic moment by like all sharing their struggles and calling each other out. And they all kind of knew like each other's demons, and they're all almost just like accepting those things and putting them all on the table to get this little girl to go and dance. Yeah. And it was just like really cool to see. It really highlights like what can happen when you look yourself in the mirror, you try to figure out what's wrong, you try to grow, you try to get better, you surround yourself with people that care about you. Although you might have some disagreements or you might not align, or there might be times where you're fighting, it's like at the end of the day you still care and love those people. And when you have those people in your life, they can push you to a place of finding like true happiness or meaning or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, big time meaning.
And I think that was like the coolest part, because I think that's what we all crave. Like we all crave those moments. Like when I'm watching that, I'm like, man, I want that in my life. Like I want the people around me to be like that. I want to be able to have those people. I want to be able to have those conversations. I want to be able to love those people. And like I think they do a really good job of highlighting that in that episode, in that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think the other part of that too is being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to my thing about ego. I can't be vulnerable and say this thing, because if I do, I'm going to get rejected. I'm going to get laughed at. I'm going to be embarrassed. I'm going to feel guilt. I'm going to feel shame. It's all these things, right? At the end of the day, if you put something out there and you're vulnerable about it and it doesn't get received well, that's okay. And that's actually the only way you test to see if someone is right for you, if they're going to be someone that's going to stay in your life. So maybe don't be, the biggest, like talk about the biggest vulnerability of your whole entire existence, like the first day, but just, it's a test over time. And that's how you actually forge relationships, is through vulnerability and stepping up for each other with no expectation. And we've talked about this a lot too with gifts. I think it's really important to give without expectation of return. My friend that's really close to me, Jessie, is like a person that's taught me this. Spent a lot of time with this person, and she's just been such a giver, and I've just really like enjoyed watching her do it for no reason other than like pure love and not expecting it back from people. And it's taught me that you can live that way and not feel at a deficit, and it actually comes back around to give to you in other ways. And I think the more you're around people that do that look out for you, that go, hey man, happy birthday, I know you love this show, I got you this little plaque that wasn't that expensive, but I know it means a lot because I listen to you when you talk, and I cherish the moments we talked about this show. That's beautiful. And so again, it's like, but you have to be able to put yourself out there. You have to go through a couple times where that doesn't get reciprocated. And it's not on the fault of the other person if they don't reciprocate. Sometimes it's just not meant to be. Yeah. It's not everybody's meant to be in our lives, because again, that's what makes the special ones special. If everybody was your fucking friend, like, good God, you'd have so many texts to get back to, and like it would just be a mosh pit of like your schedule. Like, how would you manage any of that? So it's better that we have the ones we really connect with, and then everybody else you just stay open to. Just because somebody's not your best friend doesn't mean you have to hate them. That's the thing too I learned over time, was like, I don't have to be angry at someone or not like them because they don't love me, because they don't like always like, it's just not, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It's not love or hate. It's just like, we're good. I'm good with everybody. Everybody is my friend. I have my best friends, my core group, my tribe, my family, my close-knit pack of people, but everybody I'm good with. Like, we haven't talked in however long, that's fine, don't care. Like, it's all good. How are you? And again, if I can go to my, subtly out of my way to do something for someone, I'm going to do it. Why wouldn't I, right? So that show and that moment and that thing was like everybody being vulnerable finally and accepting who they are and saying it. And when someone hears you say, I am just struggling with X, or I am not good at this, and God, I'm sometimes hard to deal with, they go, yeah, you are, and I'm glad you said it, and actually don't resent you as much for it now. So like, let's get back to work, right? Let's get back in the kitchen and figure out this thing. Because the only way to level up is for people to push you, for you to do it with others and push. And if you can't have an honest conversation with someone without fucking offending them, then like, you guys shouldn't hang out. Like, move on to different parties, because that's what it's gonna take. Like, just bluntness in a kind way, and that's how we get places. The best part too of that episode was the Richie thing. So you want to talk about the sand? I am the sand, because that was cool, and you love that part.
Yeah, I do love that part, but I'm kind of forgetting like, a little bit of like the context around it. Like,
guy's tired today.
Yeah, like it's just like basically his moment where he realizes what he is. Like, he recognizes that like what he is meant to do is, I don't know how to explain it.
Brother! Okay, I'll explain it for you. So how I interpret it is he talks about this like famous guy and talks about how like, you know, those like sand things that you like comb the sand, the little like, I don't know what they're called. But then he talks about, and if you watch the show, Richie knows everybody, and everybody like subtly likes Richie. And Richie's always has a relationship with every human. Richie also has a weird dynamic with his like ex-wife and like his ex-wife's new fiance. And like, you watch Richie manage all of these relationships and kind of be the glue that brings people back together. Even though he will argue with everyone, he will also be the one to fix the arguments between others, or make a joke to lighten the mood. So at one point in this season, he's sitting there talking to the uncle, and he's just been under the table with this whole group, including his fiance's new husband and his daughter, who him and his, you know, the new fiance is like had to like manage. Like, that's how this whole table thing started. And he just buries his own ego and helps this guy out with his own daughter so that they can go dance at this guy's wedding, him and his wife. And he buries his fucking own shit and his own ego of like, just him being a better dad, or his old partner being with a new person, because he just so obviously still loves her. Like, he just takes the love of the room and he goes, oh shit, like, I am the sand. I am the one that brings everybody together. I am the sand between these like rocks in this little garden, right? I am that. That is my place. And again, what's his position in the restaurant? I don't know the title of it, but it's like he's the head guy of the front, right, area, who communicates with everybody and it gets everybody fired up. Like, that's an invaluable person, but only a certain human being can do that. Like, I don't know if you and I always have the energy to like be, you know, human based all the time. Obviously you don't have the energy tonight, but like,
bro, this guy's coming at me today.
I'll hit you with it. But like, it's the truth, man. It's like, there is a valuable position on all teams for all. Like, there is, like, in basketball, in whatever sport, there are roles. In a restaurant, there are roles. The other thing I really like about the restaurant scenario, I don't know why, like, I think it's why we all fall in love with it when we watch it on TV, is it's like, it's such high pressure situation. And it's like also something we all could probably try to do. So it's like achievable. So we all can like put ourselves in it a little bit and like be like, oh man, can you imagine being in the back of a restaurant, like slinging scallops and like making steaks and like, I wanted medium rare, and like they yell at each other and shit, and you like throw a fucking pan, like, and sometimes you're just like, fucking life makes you feel like that, like you want to throw your pan across the room like Gordon Ramsay. But it's highly volatile, emotional, and like that's why I think it sucks us in. But the other thing that it is it's very structured. It's like timing is everything. Every second counts. Like, it's when it's really done well, it is a beautiful experience. And I think the quest for perfection is something that's cool about it, even though it's not realistic. And I think that show especially tries to do that, right? Carmen battles with that a lot. But his perfection is, I need to be a perfect person because I don't love myself.
Right.
This restaurant needs to be perfect and work because I'm worthless without it.
Yeah. Which is a slippery slope, as you find out in the show.
100%, dude.
And that's what we're about to learn next. In the new season.
Yeah, season 5.
What happens?
Who knows? It's going to be, I don't know, we can't give away what the end thing is, but like, again, I would highly recommend watching the show. There's so many good episodes. One of the best ones from the first season is the tomato can thing at the end. Like, I think everybody loves that. I think that's like that cliffhanger season 1 to 2 where everybody falls in love with the show.
Yeah.
But like, that writing, whoever came up with that is fucking brilliant, because they just allude to this tomato can thing forever. It's like, why do we buy all these tomato cans? This isn't even the most efficient way to buy the tomato cans. And it's like, oh, you'll find out. But yeah, man, it's good. So I think like the net idea of this podcast is facilitating self and opening back up to all aspects that make you you.
Yes.
And the value of that.
There's a lot of value in that.
There's immense value in that. And
it's probably the one thing that is keeping most people from reaching what they want to reach. And I don't think that's an overstatement.
For sure, because I think the other thing that it does when you're not acknowledging the other aspects of you is you focus on one area of life and you fucking chase everything in that area. And when you chase it, that energy becomes a little tainted and it's aggressive and it's a little all or nothing. And so that means there's a high amount of emotional volatility because risk becomes a part of that. So if I don't make this thing happen and I fail, I can't handle failure because all my identity is based on this thing.
And then when that thing comes crashing down, which eventually it will, or something happens, you have nothing to stand on.
No.
And that's a scary place, man. That's when you got to look yourself in the mirror. You got to face that moment to figure that all out. And put it back together. And luckily enough, like, a lot of times you have opportunities to do that, and sometimes you don't, man. Sometimes you get so far into it, you get to a dark place. Like, that's how stuff goes not good. So
yeah, I think the other thing that's problematic too, when you get caught in something you're putting everything into and you like have to make it work, whether it's like a romantic relationship or a business that you go into, or like, I don't know, any other thing with like a person, like, because I think the other thing is the human element. Like, we both really like a book, The Courage to Be Disliked, and it talks about how every problem is an interpersonal problem. And I actually really believe that. Like, every problem is the emotions associated with the human beings along with like riding along for the ride. Like, it's hard when you have other people involved in things. So it is immensely important that you make decisions based on the humans involved just as much as the thing you're trying to pursue. Like, that would be a recommendation I would make to everybody. You're trying to apply for a job, like, can you ask to interview with a few more people, or like meet another worker, or like if it's a brick and mortar location, like go in and talk to people off the cuff, because you need to know what you're getting into. Like, that's super vital, because then that's going to kind of manipulate what's going on with you and then the decisions you make thereafter, right? I think the same thing with a relationship. What do they say? Like, the most important decision you'll ever make is who you choose to marry. Like, I think that's extremely important. So like, you need to test the waters. You need to also test the other person. You need to have the conversations that are maybe really difficult that you don't want to have them up front, often, early, right? Because you need to make sure you're all in this, and you need to make sure that you guys can work with each other through things. Again, that's the other thing, is like with family dynamics, same thing with like any social situation. So again, the human dynamic and picking the right environment and picking the right humans to be around is important. The other thing too, not to monologue, because like I know you're fucking sleeping over here, but
no, bro, you're doing great.
Wake up!
You're doing great.
Is like,
I was just gonna talk for 2 hours.
We're gonna talk for 2 hours. Yeah, we'll tap toes soon and we'll wrap this up.
I've been waiting for the toe tap.
You've been waiting for the fucking toe tap? Okay.
No, keep going, bro. You're on a wave. Go.
I'm on a wave.
Yeah.
I just love these chairs, man. I just love like.
I know. I'm pretty cozy right now.
Yeah, I'm pumped that we got these. I think if you don't spend time alone, you will never shut out the noise to know who you are. How's that for a fucking ending? Like, I mean that.
Yeah.
Like, I, for the first time now in my life, live alone, and there was a lot of challenge that came with that, because it's very silent and you are with your own thoughts. But I would recommend to anyone that you journal those thoughts, that when you want to reach out to somebody and talk about them, you kind of wait and you sit in them and you let them pass through you. You feel them all the way. As you go through different days and things, you watch what triggers what emotion inside of you, and you come to terms with where it comes from. Because though mental pain and anguish is challenging, it is ultimately to a degree created. Physical pain, if anybody's been injured or had something happen to them for a period of time, you will recognize that physical pain really sets the tone for what pain really is, and it kind of puts mental pain into perspective. And again, I'll use this as an example, but like, I remember I had an ear problem and I've had injuries, and whenever something is like at the forefront of your brain as a fucking real problem, you let everything else go. So that perspective is helpful because if you remember that and remember an injury, or remember a time where you're sick, you'll again remind yourself that like, oh, this shit is so not that important. I'm healthy. I have all these things going on for me. I'm creating this thing in my head because I'm not getting what I want. So again, it's equanimity is the word we talked about earlier today. Being able to stabilize yourself and regulate yourself through challenge. I think spending time alone allows you to get used to regulating yourself and finding ways to become, again, net neutral with your emotions. And then also using, as we talked about earlier, using certain things to create happiness for yourself. So activities that are good, like for you, that you can do on your own. Like I know you rollerblade, and like there's other things that are just that source moment for you that kind of, again, settle you down. Because that's what it's all about. So spending time alone is an absolute requirement for self-growth and self-learning. So yeah, on that note, we should probably wrap this up, and you should leave so I can be alone because you're gonna fall asleep. So that's a wrap on episode 7.
7
with the new chairs.
New chairs. This was great. Good hydration.
Love it, man.
Good chats. Source. Introduce Source.
Source is going to be a common topic.
I mean,
this is the Source Hub. We're creating it right now.
This
is the first stage.
Being built.
Love it.
As we speak.
Amazing, man. Okay.
Peace.